Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and welcome back here to Inside the Game, number 194 here on this Thursday, November 20th. I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Nathan Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. I am back here in our Michigan-based studios for this edition of Inside the Game, number 194, just 6 episodes away from 200 here this year. Thinking about it, it's crazy how many episodes we've done and how many we're about to accomplish here in just 6 short days. But Nathan, man, welcome back to the show. How was your Wednesday evening?
No, it was good, and I agree. Yeah, I mean, we've been at it for a long time. It's interesting to see. You know, you started last January, I think, is when we started it, but obviously building up to the World Cup. But it seems like it's all kind of building up to one big pinnacle, which is that World Cup in 2026. And so I think the timing of it all could not have been any better. And obviously, we're seeing, you know, our following continue to go up on social media channels. You know, specifically, I know Ryan and I have put a lot of work into the TikTok page, and we're getting a lot of positive response and feedback from that. And I think people are just starting to get excited.
Videos.
Well, not on your. What do you mean not on your videos? I think you made the biggest video we've had on that page yet.
The Aluminium Wall one. People didn't like it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
They also didn't like the Panenka one.
You know, I knew that one was going to do really well from the moment you immediately came out and said that. So it seemed like it did pretty all right. But no, certainly building up to a pinnacle with that World Cup. And so I think people are starting to get fired up. People are starting to get excited. I think I think it's cool to see. It's always interesting because when I post about USA soccer, they love it when I'm like complaining and like upset. They don't like it so much when I'm happy about American soccer, which is always fascinating. Anytime I like crash out, that's when the videos typically do the best. So it's this very back and forth. It's like when they do worse, we do better. But when they do really good, obviously that's the way we prefer it. So, but no, all that to be said, no, I had a great day. That was probably a much easier way of answering that without dancing around the bush 80 times. But you get my point.
No, I absolutely do get your point. And again, we've talked about the growth of soccer in this country, obviously a lot on this show and as part of our network, and obviously excited about what's to come. I had a chance yesterday after the show. I hopped in an Uber and made my way to the airport, and I walked in the door last night at 6 o'clock at night. I'll tell you this much: you know, home cooked meals, man, are phenomenal. I am blessed to have not only a beautiful wife, but one that knows how to cook. And last night, I come home and homemade hamburgers, man. These things were fire. I mean, not only did they have the all the things that you'd want, but when I go to Red Robin for a burger, there's this thing I get. I think it's called the Ghost. I think it's called the jalapeno heat wave burger. Anyways, it's got jalapenos and it's got like they actually have like a crust on them, like they've been deep fried. And with cheese, and then I get this spicy jalapeno relish that goes with it. It is so good, dude. And anyways, I come home last night and there's a jalapeno relish that my wife had made homemade. The food was fantastic last night. So happy to be back home, even though I was only gone for a night. It was fantastic. So
he missed home, man. He was gone for one night. He's like
one night, right? But it's. You know, we talked about my trip to Florida here, and I had a chance to go and watch the U.S. men's national team in person, and we're going to continue to talk about that today because Pochettino, his post-game presser was one that I'm starting to wonder if we need to be thinking about the emotional, psychological component of this team based on how Pochettino is handling his press conferences. Not saying that, you know, but I'm starting to feel like these players are not mentally tough based on how he's responding to questions coming from the media. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why he's saying these things.
I think he's got a fire under his ass, and
but isn't he point? I mean, while he's defending his team, and I don't disagree. There are obviously we see this all the time where a reporter asks a stupid question, you're gonna get a stupid answer. I mean, you know, we see it all the time, but I'm starting to feel like, for the sake of saving his teams, he's also maybe shining a light on stuff he doesn't need to shine a light on. Yeah, I mean, are we like a bunch of babies in the locker room? Like they can't, I mean, and we're gonna go into this in a moment. But I feel like he's doing things that maybe he shouldn't do. I feel like it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm curious. We'll dive into this obviously throughout the show today. Ryan, what else is on tap here today? We're going to talk about Pochettino. We're going to talk about Belize. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about possibly where the U.S. might be as far as their pot.
Yeah. We might be talking about Bielsa.
Whoa.
What?
Pot.
Yes. We might be talking about pots in
We're
terms
going to be talking
of
about pot today.
in terms of where the U.S. could be. And then question of the day is a funny one. And you guys should never guess it, so I'm safe that I don't have to audible at this point. But it should be a fun one, and this will be USA jam-packed like normal based on how well they've been playing. And by the way, MechCheck said Red Robin, yum.
Yum.
There you go. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk Pochettino. We'll talk all things U.S. soccer and so much more. You're watching number 194 this morning on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game on this Thursday morning. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. And let's dive right into this Pochettino conversation here. Again, when Ryan, just go ahead and just read this quote here.
Yeah, sorry. Luckily, I found one with subtitles because I didn't really understand what he was saying. But anyway, after the game against Uruguay, a reporter asked Pochettino about not having the regulars and how deep this team has become. Pochettino responded with, "Who are the regulars? Maybe I need to go back to the dressing room, ask who the regulars are, and come back and start this whole thing over," meaning the press conference. "I'm the USA coach, not the janitor. Tell me which regular players you are talking about. We need to," and then he later on to finish say, "We need to congratulate the player meaning the ones that just came out victorious." But luckily, I found one with subtitles, so and I was able to interpret this.
He does have a way with words. Pochettino does. Hey.
Maybe some of it got lost in translation.
Credit for trying. I don't understand. And somebody even said, I don't think that they were trying to actually maybe reestablish the question during the press conference. I don't think you understand the question because it's like, and it's like, so then he doubled down on this. Anyone that asked that, we know who are the regular players. The fact that he's saying this, I don't know why he's saying this. I don't understand what his issue is. I mean, there are players, like, for example, there are players that see lots of minutes on this team, and there are players that do not. And so like in any other, and let's be honest, if we're talking about this from the standpoint of maybe a local media person who doesn't necessarily understand soccer but watches sports, you typically have your starters. Right? I mean, you have your typical day-to-day players who play almost at every game, and then there are players that come in and they'll sub, and they're non-regular players. And so maybe this reporter was that reporter. I don't know. But regardless, the players that we saw on the field on Tuesday were, for the most part, vastly different than what we saw on Saturday. And come June, will be completely different. So I don't understand why he's so bent out of shape about this. I think the reporter also was trying to compliment him on the depth at the exact same moment. And so I don't know. I think it's much to do about nothing, but I think he's pointing and shining a light on something that doesn't need to be shined. I don't think these players need to be coddled. These are all professional athletes. These are not like U14 teenage boys. These are all adult men who are playing an adult level game day in, day out, whether they're playing for the U.S. men's national team or not. They don't need a coach to go out there and say, I've got your back, but I don't know if they actually even need it. I mean, this wasn't one of those moments where you're like, wow, this reporter stepped out of line. This was more like Pochettino took offense to something he didn't need to take offense to.
I mean, but people always look at the first opportunity to take away something from what they did. And I think that's the first talking point we always hear after these friendlies as well. It was Uruguay's C team, right? It wasn't their A team. Come on now. It's just a friendly. Like, they just had an off night. Those weren't our main guys.
But those things can be true at the exact same time. You can get a win, but you can also,
I think he's sick of hearing it. I think that's the point of what he's trying to stand up for his guys. Like, what do you mean our main guys? Like, that's the group we put out there. That's the group we chose tonight. And they beat Uruguay's you-know-what. They beat them 5-1 here at home, and they played perfect, and they executed. Like, why are we talking about the main guys if they're not here in front of us? And from a coaching perspective, I understand that. Like, what do you mean by main guys? Because I don't really think we have our main guys. None of us can tend to agree on who wants to be where. Ryan just showed us before we started the show today a projected starting 11. Someone literally sat down and went, these are our main guys. These are our guys that we want on the field. And then Ryan looks at it and goes, what the hell is this?
Well, there are two players on there. I think we could all sit here and say that there's probably 8 to 9 players that we could all sit here, if I put them on a list, that we'd probably agree on for starting 11.
Yeah,
8 out of 9.
Probably. But
and then there's 2 probably we'd be like, okay, we don't know.
20 to 25 different people what the 11 is, they'd probably all come back to you with different answers. I'm not saying we don't know who our best options are in certain positions. I think we do. I think Christian Pulisic is obviously going to be on the field. I would hope Jedi Robinson is obviously on the field. Guys like Malik Tillman, like those guys, yes, those are your regulars. But I think he's frustrated, and he's going to bat for his players saying, why is this the first thing that is always mentioned after these friendlies? You don't have your main guys. Like, that's the first thing that's always mentioned. That wasn't the question. The question was, are you satisfied with your depth? That was the question. He's like, even though your regular main guys aren't here, aren't you happy with that you have this depth? And he immediately went to shit on this.
Also, part of the question was, he's like, last time you rotated heavily in the squad, you guys got killed by Switzerland like 4-0, and that was also on part.
There's a heavy. I mean, they rotated the squad significantly. I think there's only 1 or 2 players outside of Freeze that were on the pitch on Saturday, and so.
Yeah,
Pochettino came from the EPL. This coach is used to being obliterated by the press. This isn't his first run at this. He's been doing this for a long time. I can only imagine the questions that he faced each and every day in Europe, where it's like the same thing as the NFL, where you're literally being obliterated in every press conference. I don't understand why he's taking offense. Again, I'm not disagreeing that he should be frustrated with certain things. But to make it sound like we should be congratulating the players that were just on the pitch today, and these regular players, I don't know what you mean. Like, well, of course he knows what we mean. We're missing 80% of our roster. What do you mean? Of course we know what you mean. Like, I don't understand why this. And then again, these are all big boys. They all know how to handle this. I don't understand why we're making a big deal out of this, especially in a press conference. I think it's shining the wrong light. And I don't think the players, one way or another, give a shit. I actually think that they're going, why are they talking about this? Why is he doing this? This is stupid. You're putting a light on me. I don't need this. I don't need this right now.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think they like.
You think they like Pochettino standing up there and saying, "I'm not the janitor. I'm the U.S. men's head coach, and these guys, we should be congratulating them, and they have feelings too."
Because they all deserve to be on the field. Yeah,
I don't think that's a question that that's not the reaction that they were trying to get. The depth. we've been talking about depth for the last few days now.
No,
The U.S. men's
I get
national
it, but
team
that's
showing
for
the
that's
depth
for
they have.
us. That's for us to talk about. That's for us to talk about, right? That's not for him to talk about. He's the coach. The group he put out there is the group he put out there, and they executed right in front of him to a level that we haven't seen. Again, and I've talked about it. That's probably arguably one of the best performances I've seen a men's national team put on in my time watching them. So like that's what his focus is. Like why are you asking me about guys that aren't here right now? Like why is that immediately the talking point after the game? That's for radio, that's for podcasts, that's for TV shows, that's for Alexi Lalas to sit up on his high horse and talk about.
So
for
are
an
you saying
hour
that if you were
at
in
a
that
time.
room, you wouldn't ask that same question?
I'm sure it's not a bad question. I'm not
No,
saying
I
it's
mean
a
the
bad
question was
I'm just
about
trying to
depth
give you-
and how happy
Yeah,
he is
I'm-
about the depth of
I'm
this
not-
team. And
that's the thing.
again,
I'm not saying it's a bad question. I'm just saying that he doesn't want to hear it in that moment, and I understand why he doesn't want to.
I don't know why you can't just say, yeah, I'm extremely happy with the depth that I have. I don't know why it can't be like, oh my God, yes, we have some great players. Did you guys not know that?
Right.
That's not how he answered that question. He went into complete defense mode and was like, our guys have feelings too. Like, okay, great. Why can't you just answer the question? We've got depth. Yes, we do. We are a great team. Thank you very much. Look what we're doing here, guys. Why aren't we doing that? Why are we immediately going into like, I'm defending? I don't know what I'm defending. I mean, he could have done this a million different ways, but that way, to be fair, I think was the wrong way to handle it. You want to defend your team?
No,
You say, our team is great, by the way. Thank you very much.
It's like I have an airplane behind you. Look at behind
Yes.
you. Turn around.
Yeah. He's got an airplane.
Is that a paper airplane? What the hell
Yeah,
is that?
every
pretty
Thursday,
cool.
a group of older gentlemen, experienced gentlemen, bring in their airplanes that fly, and they fly them inside our building. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty sick. All
Yeah,
right.
so
Nice.
anyways,
All right.
but
Okay. Anyways.
but I don't dispute. This is not his first go around in press conferences. So I feel like he's shining this light.
I mean, that's it might have gotten lost in translation a little bit too. I mean,
I
that's
don't know if it
as
did,
Ryan's
man. I mean,
talking
he
about.
doubled down on it. I mean, he's like, I'm not the janitor. Again, he might be used to taking questions, but the answer should have been, yeah, we've got great depth. Yeah, the regular guys aren't here, but the guys who are here stepped up today in ways that we haven't seen. I am super excited about this team.
Yeah.
And
But-
then
but-
I'm
and-
like, then I'm sitting there going, well done, Poach, well done. But no, I'm sitting there going, why are you doing this? Our guys don't need that. They don't need that. They need a coach to stand up there and say, hey, our team is great. We're in the right direction. Yeah, we've had some hiccups, but we're doing
Yeah.
great. Look at what just happened here tonight. We had three guys
about
do
it from-
firsts.
Think about it from his perspective, though, right? Because if you come at it from that perspective, the focus of the question, it might be the depth, but that's an automatic assumption, right, from the reporter's perspective that anybody that was on the field tonight, or let's say 95% of the players that are on the field tonight, are not going to be playing significant minutes when the games start to matter. They're not going to be starting. They're not going to
But
have
that very
that
well
chance.
be the case, though.
That's a bold assumption, though, and
Why is
that's
that-
why, like for him, that's why he's saying he's not the janitor. He's
we
the
use
coach.
this
Like,
word
this is
bold
all. This is
a
all
lot.
by design.
We use
This
this
is all
word
by
bold a
design.
lot.
Hold on. This is by design where he's playing these players. Like he's making these switches, but I think his point is that he's doing this intentionally. Like he's not just like mixing and matching. It's not like he's just getting a 5-for-5 combo and choosing what drink he wants. Like he's putting players in spots intentionally to try and test them out in different places to see if they could start or play significant minutes in certain spots on the field. Like that's what he means, at least from my perspective, when he says, I'm not the janitor, I'm the coach. Like I am making these decisions intentionally. It's not just random. It's not just at random. So you can't just assume that anyone that was on the field that night is not going to get significant minutes or not be a significant contributor. Like that, the assumption there is kind of like you have great depth. Like none of these guys are going to start. They're probably not going to play some real minutes, but they're here and they're doing well. But how do you feel like succeeding with these guys? Well, your main guys aren't here. So I think from Poach, like, and let's face it, every single friendly, I'm sure he's gotten the same question. I guarantee you in every single press conference, he's gotten the same question. Well, this guy is missing. Well, this guy isn't in the mix.
Well, again,
they
the
didn't have their
media
A-team
wouldn't
out
be doing
there.
their job if they didn't ask those questions. So I'm not gonna.
No, I understand it.
But
I understand it.
But Nate, I think it's important to state this: soccer vastly different than any other sport in the world when it comes to substitutions and depth. Okay, and so
Well,
you're
I
only
get it. You
allotted
don't-
X
yeah,
amount of subs in a game, and so depth.
I understand that.
while depth is important,
Used to only be 3.
Depth is extremely important. But what we have found over the last number of years is that the U.S. men's national team and our pool, we do have players that can come in and play integral parts in these games that we didn't have in the past. And so the depth question has always been a question of concern in this country. And so when a reporter asked about depth, and more importantly, when you see a team that is made up of mainly a B team, and again, that is what happened here on Tuesday, going out there and having the success that they did, it is going to raise eyebrows, and it's going to allow people to ask questions. And again, when we look, it's not a bold thing for us to sit here and say that there's a very good chance that Diego Luna will not be a starter on this team. That's not bold. And it's also pretty legitimate for us to say that he probably will not see the field at all in the World Cup. That is very possible. It's not a bold thing to say. It is very possible. Now, does it mean that it's going to be true? No. I mean, is it possible that Gio Reyna doesn't make this roster? Now, I know I was bold last week, but it's very possible. I mean, it's almost a certainty. And so, again,
that he doesn't make the roster?
Huh?
That he doesn't make the roster? Gio Reyna?
Yeah. It is more likely this kid does not make this roster at all than it does that he makes it. It is heavily favored in him not making this roster. I'm not the only one to think that. That is across the spectrum. There are people all across this country in the highest levels say that he is not making this roster. Now, does that mean that things will happen over the next 3 months that could change that? Absolutely. But there's a very good chance he doesn't make this roster. And again, that's not because I don't like the kid, but it's very possible. But there are more bolder things that we could talk about. The likelihood of Matt Turner right now. Matt Turner starting in the World Cup. That'd be bold. Matt Turner's not starting the World Cup.
Mac Jack just said 2 games, 3 goal contributions, question mark.
Again, I'm not.
It's a certainty, guys. He won't be on the roster.
Again.
Go ahead.
The soccer community as a whole, those that are up there and having these conversations are not believing that Reyna is going to make this team.
As a whole is backing that opinion. Stop that. That you can't just say the soccer world agrees with me.
I'm not saying the soccer world agrees with me. I'm saying the soccer world is talking about this. You can go to any major article on earth right now, and they're all saying the same thing, that Reyna is not possibly making this roster. He is looking from the outside in. That is what they're saying right now. Yeah, I'm not the only one thinking that. It's happening.
Oh, I get it.
But it's not. I'm saying it's not a bold thing to say that. I'm just saying that it is
far and away. He won't. I think is kind of.
I didn't say far and away. I said it right now. It is heavily favored in the fact that he will not make this roster. Again, it's favored in him not making it. That's it. Go ahead. What you were gonna say?
I'm trying to find. Come back to me. I'm gonna try to find a new article about who can make the roster.
There you go. Yeah.
So
but, again,
no, I think Poach is a little irritated. I think he's fielded this question plenty of times. I think he's fielded this question after every single game in these international windows. All the streak of these wins that he's had, I think he's gotten the same question every time. And I think for him, it's probably just frustrating. I'm not saying the reporter asked anything wrong. It is a good question, and we talked about it in the episode immediately. Well, yesterday, right? And I said it. I'm like, we have more depth now than we've ever had. We have more options available to us in more places than we've ever had on the international level when it comes to this team. And so it is a realistic question. It is a good question, but you can literally set your watch to it every single time we play these international friendlies. Like the immediate point afterwards is we didn't have our main guys. And I think that's just frustrating to Mauricio Pochettino, because I think he looks at some of these players that are on the field as being main guys that were out there. And I think Gio being one of them. I don't think he's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, if you will. I still think he legitimately believes, that's a good saying. Use that one, Ryan. But I think he legitimately believes that there are some players out there on the pitch that could play significant minutes and could make significant contributions. So I think he thinks that it takes away from what they just accomplished, which was awesome. I mean, they had done something they hadn't done in 112 years of playing soccer in this country. And yet the first question is, how's the depth?
I don't know if it was the first
Our main
question,
guys aren't here.
But it was definitely a question.
Well,
I don't know where it
one
was
of the
in the hierarchy of questions, but I think
But
it's
immediately
important to
after that
also
win,
make
which
this
he's
acknowledgement.
probably emotionally charged up.
Huh?
He's probably emotionally charged up after the game too, so that's probably why it didn't sit well with him.
Yeah,
if he didn't quite
I think it's
understand
important
what the
also.
question was.
I think it's also important to show what Belize had to say about this as well, right?
Oh, Bielsa?
Bielsa, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. By the way, just for argument's sake and everything, if you look before the November window, Reyna was on, like they said, just missed out outside looking in. And I've gone through 3 articles. Reyna is currently in the mix. Everyone has him in the mix in consideration to make the World Cup. So that November window definitely did something for Gio Reyna in terms of making this USA roster. He's been upgraded from out to in the mix. So if you're looking at March Madness, he's on the bubble. That's what.
In consideration is what they say. Brendan Aronson, Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Gio Reyna, and Alejandro Zendejas. Now, Zendejas is actually, because he wasn't involved, his stock has gone down. So, again, that would be, the quote-unquote in consideration. But either way, let's take a look at what the other coach had to say as well, because I think this also puts in context what the rest of the world is thinking as well.
So Bielsa, earlier this week, I'm going to start it off with, earlier this week, he said that the league, the MLS, makes the soccer player lazy. And then after the game, which, by the way, the background, Uruguayan player should be losing a match versus the second squad of the United States. Bielsa later said the loss was on him. And then earlier in the week, as I mentioned, the MLS, he said that the MLS makes the soccer player lazy. Funny how things have come full circle for you, Bielsa. There's a reason why Leeds United got rid of you.
I think it's important as we look at this quote and as we talk about this, and I mentioned that I didn't mention this yesterday, but I kind of talked, at least I alluded to it, is that the player mentality, when you know as a player you're going to go up and play against an inferior opponent, you sometimes don't bring it. And the other team does. Again, there was no doubt that our team wanted it on Tuesday. There was no doubt. I was there watching it in person. Everything we were doing about that game showed us that we wanted to be there. We wanted to win that game. And everything about Uruguay was like, we're just here. I mean, they were going through the motions. They did not take the game seriously. They came out extremely flat. Again, I was watching our players do circles around them, that slide tackle that we saw. I mean, all those things painted a picture that Uruguay did not care about this game whatsoever. At least the players didn't. And then to make that statement that we should never lose to the second team of the second squad of Team USA, all those things are true at the same time. And that's why I'm saying it's not like I don't want to paint this picture that what we did on Tuesday is not important, because it's absolutely important. Especially when you can go out there and have a commanding and decisive victory that we've been talking about for a long time. My biggest issue, I keep saying this, is we have yet to see that type of a performance from our A squad, and that concerns me. It concerns me, a lot, because again, our A squad has not shown that type of mentality, at least not yet. This grittiness, this toughness, right? That we talked about yesterday, this fight for another day type thing. And so it doesn't surprise me that the Uruguayans looked down upon the U.S. and this squad. Like, we're playing the B team. This is what so they took it lightly, and then they got their asses kicked. And that's what happens. Had this team taken that game seriously, it would never have been 5-1. Never in a million years.
How can you decipher whether or not a team took a game seriously?
What do you mean? You could absolutely tell they didn't take that game seriously. Yes, you can. You can absolutely.
And you're just like, oh, they just didn't take it seriously. That's why we won. Like, that's that's an assumption, man.
It is 100% what happened.
In beating the United States on the United States soil.
It is absolutely 1,000% what happened on Tuesday.
They just cast it in before the game, so that's why we won it.
I know. I'm just telling you from my experience of being around soccer games and around this my entire life in 30-some years that there's no way. No way. I think it's funny that you laugh about this, though, Nathan. As if somehow
you
you know.
I've
been in these
soccer my whole
environments.
life. I know these things.
I absolutely
they just
know.
Didn't take it seriously, so that's why we won 5-1. Like that's just
They did not take that game
that's
seriously, Nate.
Assumption. Oh my God. Oh, okay.
MechJack says.
Yeah, well,
MechJack says Natty Wing with the real questions. I guess Natty Wing is bringing up the good questions.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I asked.
I don't know in what world we think that we would beat the Uruguayans with our B squad if the other team didn't take it seriously. I don't know. I don't know where we. Again, it's never happened before in 112 years. You think that our A team, who's never done it before, against their A team, you think that somehow Uruguay, those players, and again, for someone that was there and watched how they did not come out until the moment the whistle was going to be taken, this team was getting their ass ripped. They did not. Either they were looking past this game or they didn't give a shit about this game. But one of those two things took place, and this is why we were running circles around that team on Tuesday. They did not take this game seriously.
2-2 against them all time, by the way.
Huh?
We have beaten them. We have beaten them before, just not that bad. We were 2-2
again. We've
them all
never
time going
beaten
into
a South American team. And never had 5 goals. Is that what? And then it was the last time we beat a team by 4 or more goals was in 2016. Was the last time those things
never
were Bolivia.
Scored 5 against a South American team.
So
right.
again, it's not far fetched to think that a team wouldn't take it seriously. This was not I don't know why that's such a questionable thing to say.
I always go back to the Russ Westbrook question, man. Like, did Utah beat you or did you beat you? It's like, what? Uruguay came out to play a game and they lost 5-1. Like, I don't know how. Anyways, Ryan, go ahead.
So I definitely I agree with MechJack in the chat right now. He says I would agree that they may have walked through the first half, explained the second half. I thought that coming out of the gates, I thought the U.S. really took it to them. I thought they were the more aggressive team. I thought Uruguay was kind of. I don't think they expected what really happened to happen. I don't think they expected all those goals, and it did take a worldly goal from Sebastian Berhalter to get it done. But I don't want to take anything away from the U.S. I think that they just came out of the gates. They wanted it more out of the gates. I think that's what it boiled down to. And yes, Uruguay still had their main guys outside of Valverde. That's the only one that they didn't have. And I thought that the second half, they should have come out firing in the second half, and they didn't. Yeah, I would say right out of the gates, those guys had tons of passion. They were out there making the sliding tackles, making those extra runs. They did that, and whether you want to take it away, that's up to you. But I thought that as a passion, I would say Uruguay. I wouldn't say that they didn't care to be there. I just thought that they didn't. I just think they didn't expect what happened to happen to them. They're like, wow, these kids are actually kind of real. And when your manager says that the MLS makes the player lazy, and the majority of the players out there are MLS players, I think that played a factor in terms of their mentality going into this game. So yeah. I thought that Uruguay just came out there like, wow, it's MLS players. We'll take care of them. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, these guys are taking it to us. So I don't think it came down to. I think it was a little bit of a mix of just Uruguay not being ready and the U.S. just being passionate and taking it to them and trying to prove a point.
So if Uruguay was playing in a competition right now, would they have been ready?
What terms
if they were playing anything, that mattered. A competition. If this was for a trophy, would they have been ready?
Oh yeah, they would have been ready 100%.
Okay, so they didn't take the game seriously.
In the first half, no, they did not.
There is
they
such a thing as underestimating your opponent. There is such a thing as underestimating.
That's also not taking the game
I'll
seriously. I don't know why we have to even go down any further than that. They didn't take the game seriously, guys.
You can still underestimate your opponent and get your ass beat.
There's no underestimation of the opponent, guys. They weren't. They were not prepared to play this game.
You can't take it away from them.
Who's taking away from who?
From them, though. That was a banger from Berhalter. That ball in from the
guys,
corner.
I'm not taking anything away from Team USA. Both can be true at the same time.
But,
both things can be true at the exact same time.
I just don't think it
Oakland
takes
University
away from how
played fantastic basketball against Kentucky. Kentucky played like shit.
Yeah.
They underestimated Oakland.
Kolke, 10 threes.
Kentucky, if Kentucky plays the game that they play, they don't lose to Oakland. Both can be true at the same time. I don't know why they can't both be true.
But that's just a hypothetical, right?
What's a hypothetical?
You can't take anything away from. hypothetically, if they would have done this, it would have been completely different.
If Kentucky played the game that they normally play, they would not have lost to Oakland University. You know, and you could talk. We all know that to be true. Oakland would never have walked all over them.
And if my uncle was a woman, it'd be my aunt. So, all I'm saying is you can't take anything away from what they did. I just don't think you can take anything away from it. Like, I get it. They underestimated their opponent. They played down to their competition. We see that all the time. Kentucky's a great example of that. That's a good example of that. But that doesn't mean that you just don't play the game. They were missing 1 out of their 11. They practically had their starting 11 out there, and yet we ran through them like, what did Nick Saban say once upon a time? Like shit through a tin horn. Yeah, that's exactly what happened in that game. So he did the Georgia Southern interview. Great interview. Go watch it.
Yeah,
very funny.
I think we'd be having a different conversation if it was the Pulisics of the world out there.
No, well, again, they're looking at it from the perspective of who's on the field. But again, I think context is extremely important. This is a preseason game that does not matter. And so, again, while we continue to talk about if this was a competition, if this was Copa America, if it was Gold Cup, if it was anything else.
Well, they beat us in the Gold Cup.
This doesn't happen.
Copa America.
This doesn't happen. And we can sit all day long and talk about it, but it does not happen. It doesn't, because they're going to take the game seriously. And as hard as our team played and as great as they played against them, they beat a superior opponent to them by just throwing it down their throat. It was great to watch. It was one of the most exciting games I had a chance to watch that I've ever been to, as far as U.S. men's national team game. But I mean, like, it was an exciting game to be a part of.
Mekchek says, and you alluded to this yesterday, Johnny, says they were late to return to the field, that being Uruguay. They were getting ripped. They didn't show up still. I think this, in terms of the U.S. playing the Uruguay, I think this was like the perfect storm for what happened because Pochettino defeats his mentor. We've seen that happen time and time again, where the mentor or the student beats the mentor. Look at Matt Patricia back in the day when he beat Bill Belichick. Sorry for any Lions fans, PTSD. Yep. Arteta did it against Guardiola last year. So this thing kind of happened, and then you also have a bunch of hungry guys that are trying to prove themselves to the manager, try to prove themselves to U.S. Soccer that they deserve a spot on this World Cup roster. And then you have Uruguay, who isn't in anything at this point. They should be in the World Cup. I think they're qualified for the World Cup at this point, but they're in front.
Yeah, they're already in. Yep.
So I think perfect storm for a blowout from the U.S. Uruguay not taking it seriously. I think the second half that was a different story, but the first half I think they were out there just kind of.
I mean, the second half there was obviously it was a better game. I mean, it was obviously closer. I think there's somebody said that we took our foot off the gas a little bit too. I think that we actually probably did that a little bit too. I think
you're up 4-1.
When you have a 5-goal, you have a 4-goal lead, and then you have a 3-goal lead. Yeah. I think that there's something to be said about, again, you start to kind of play the game a little bit differently. You maybe a little more conservative, but the game is a little different. And so I think that's also the true about the second half as well, especially after the fact that we gave up a goal right before the end of that first half. And had that not happened, I don't think we take our feet off the gas a little bit. I actually think if we go into halftime 4-0, I think we come back out, we're still going balls to the wall and trying to score as many goals as we can. I think because of that, I think we made some adjustments, and that ultimately changed how we would approach the game. We still got another goal, which is great. There was another one that would rang up the crossbar in that
was
first
a
half.
Great shot.
I mean, that would have changed. I mean,
that shot was like 30 yards out, a laser off the crossbar. I don't know how that would have been a golazo.
But I want to go back to this. I think it's important because we've all played competitively. We've all faced opponents who were inferior to us and played against opponents who were supposed to beat us. We've all been there. And I can only imagine that all of us have been in the locker room at halftime. We're losing to a team we had no business losing to because we did not take that game seriously. We did not show up. We were thinking past the game. We've all been there.
Yep.
And we've all been there when we were, again, in the locker room, we're beating a team we have no business beating. We've all been there too. And I can look to at least 3 or 4 times in my history as a soccer player where I'm literally remembering we're taking on a team that beats us 9 out of 10 times, and we're somehow in a draw within the 80th minute of a game with 10 minutes to go. and when you win and when the game ends in a draw, you're so excited that you just tied them when they were supposed to smoke you, and you're celebrating, and they're all going like, "Why are you celebrating a tie?" Like you guys we just got a tie, but we were so happy we got that tie because they normally smack the shit out of us. We found a way to not get our asses kicked. And so I think that for us to sit here, especially knowing what the coach was saying from Uruguay was saying all week long about how inferior this team was, you don't think the trainings were a little different? These players were training, they're a little different. They just tied Mexico 0-0. Right? That didn't create it, right? That clearly didn't create anything, right? That didn't create a stir that caused, because you would think that in itself would have maybe created something, that these guys come out fighting a little harder. That didn't do anything. These guys were not prepared for this window. They could care less. It's like they can't wait for Christmas. Uruguay was like, who cares about this window? Nobody gives a shit.
That's probably why Valverde wasn't there.
It's like, so that's where my perspective on this is. Because again, to take nothing away from the men's national team, they went out there and did their job, and they did it very well. Far more than what we would have expected in the same environment. But I also think it's got to be said that this was a different environment. This doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't happen that way. And I think it's okay for us to say that. It's being realistic. And it's not wrong for us to say it either. But either way, let's take a break. We're going to come back. Do we have a bunch of mailbag? I know we have a whole bunch of comments from everywhere. We should probably get into some mailbag comments.
We got some other things.
We can dive into.
We do mailbag tomorrow.
Let's hop into it. 194 continues here this morning on the National Soccer Network.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game this morning. It's Thursday, and we just got obviously done talking about the U.S. men's national team, Pochettino, and what Uruguay had to say about that victory and that loss. But let's talk about now where, based on where the current world rankings are, where would the U.S. men's national team possibly be in the draw? Let's take a look at that now on your screen. Just kidding.
Oh. Turn your mic on, Ryan.
They'd be in pot one based off the ranking, the World Cup FIFA rankings, which they did move up to 14th, which pot one, for all the Americans out there that don't understand, this would be the 1 seed. This would be the 1 seed. So they would avoid Spain, Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, which that would be pretty awesome. Then you look at pot 2, and that's who the swing game of the group would eventually come across. Croatia, which they're all old now, I believe. Morocco, which we don't want to face them. Colombia, Uruguay, who we just beat. Switzerland, who beat us recently. Japan, which, again, the Japan game, take it as it is because they didn't play the main guys for the first 60 minutes, I would say. And then, But then you look over at pot 3, gets a little bit. Some of these teams, I don't even know how they're in the World Cup. And then pot 4 obviously is not decided yet. Which Nate, your Ireland team could be in pot 4 based on the playoffs if they advance or not. But just looking at that, if they could get into pot 1, that's massive because of just the teams that they would avoid. And this is coming from Bleacher Report.
Well,
by the way.
Initially taking a look at that, I didn't understand the concept of that. Then I picked up on it initially, but I was like pot 1, and I saw all those teams like, no, I thought those were the teams we had to play. And then I took a deeper look, and I'm like, no, that's not the case. So no, that's huge, and that's good. So is that based off of us like winning games? Because I mean, we're already qualified, right? I thought like these.
Yeah, that's based
these
off the world
international
rankings.
friendlies. Okay, so anyway, in other words, stick with me here. These friendlies actually mean something if you win them, because then you go up in the rankings, which means you get in a better pot, right? Which means you get to avoid those teams.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, we jumped up one spot for beating Uruguay and Paraguay, so I guess
That's
sure.
fair. I mean, I guess it doesn't make a massive difference, but it makes a difference, right?
We jumped
At the end of the day,
Uruguay.
I mean,
So
I don't know.
I guess the just joined against the. Just joined against the. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. We're back to red.
Nice. Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know the formula behind all of it. MechJack is saying it's based off of wins, and Uruguay didn't do themselves any favors, and so.
So in other words, that game meant something.
It could, depending on when they release the pots. Yes, we will decide. We will figure out whether or not that game really truly meant something.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then good on them. And if that's the case, then I guess this win streak for the U.S. men's national team actually means something, and it means that these friendlies were worth it to go out and win them and play well in them. So that's a good sign, because I think when we talk about, obviously, with it being the preseason, which it is in a lot of ways, and we've seen that obviously with the player formations and who were trying out in certain spots, and Timmy Tillman getting a call, and even Alex Freeland and all these guys. We understand that it's still very much the preseason, but if you're moving up spots because you're winning games, that's huge. So good on this team.
So
I mean, if
just
you don't
so
have to
everybody
qualify,
understands, the pots are set up the following way. The pot includes the 3 host nations in pot 1, so that wouldn't have changed.
Ah,
I didn't realize that.
And then
All right,
and
all right,
then
never mind.
the
I'll take it
remaining
back.
9 teams in pot 1 are the world's number 1 ranked teams. The world's
okay.
highest
right.
ranked team. So for Uruguay, it could have absolutely meant something, but
so
again, I don't.
So
feels
it would
so-
have been the
that
top
feels
12
so
teams or top
backwards,
11.
though.
The
rather.
remaining 9 spots in pot 1 are filled with the 9 highest ranked qualified teams. Group so who are actually seeded and pre-assigned. USA to Group D, Canada to Group B, and Mexico to Group A is where it would go.
So it would come down to the top 11 teams in a normal World Cup where 3
Yep.
nations don't. Okay, so we'd still be in pot 2, just on the outside looking in.
That
We would
seems
never
so
be pot
backwards,
2.
though, that
No, we'd be in pot 2.
that?
No,
Or
pot 1. We will never be in pot 2.
I'm saying in a normal World Cup we would be in pot 2.
Yeah, correct. But in this World Cup, because we're a host nation, you're automatically in pot 1.
wow.
So
But
yeah.
the game would matter more to Uruguay if
it would, yeah. But
But I don't know if they would get such a massive jump from 14 to 11, or it'd be 9 because there's 3 host nations.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
they're not the best in South America, but I mean they're towards the top. So interesting. Now
Mind you,
that's
South Africa
that's
was
an
in pot 1
inherent
back in the day.
Well, yeah, they
And
hosted.
Qatar.
Yeah,
They didn't do
all-
it. They didn't do anything with
so
it.
weird,
the
man.
host nation, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think they want the host nation to. Well, France was obviously a host nation too, right? So I mean,
Yeah, but they won the thing.
they won it. Yeah, and you could argue that by being when that
no,
spot,
no,
right?
no, they weren't host. That was Russia. Russia was the host in 2018.
But in
Oh, yeah,
'98,
yeah.
they also hosted.
Oh, yeah,
They
I
won it.
I wasn't even a thought back then.
yeah,
so.
that's fair. Fair enough.
Oh, I don't recall that. That was 5 years before I
Hey,
was
but you like
born, so-
Motown, man. You got old taste, anyways. So I figured
Yeah,
you
that is
remember
true.
that one.
That is true. That's what happens when you don't have the choice of the radio or the movies in the house or the car. So, yeah.
That's great. No,
So I think, hey, I mean, we talk about this. Is there a chance they could be in a group with death? The U.S. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. But at this point, based on the fact that they're hosting and the fact that they're obviously in that first pot, will we see a more favorable draw for them? I would imagine we probably will.
So I would say the group of death, based off this, would be us getting Morocco, and then you'd have to get Norway because you can't have two UEFA teams, I think. So you'd have to have Morocco, a Norway, and then someone coming from the playoff. That's what the group of death would be. In terms of that, maybe the UEFA playoff, you would get someone in that too. But no, the group of death would be us, Morocco, Norway, because I don't want to face Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard. So yeah, no, and then someone from pot 4 maybe coming out of that playoff.
Don't
that'd
sleep
be the
on
group of
Panama.
death.
Don't sleep on Panama, man. They found a way to beat us a couple of different times. They found the formula to beat. No, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, we look a lot different coming up in the World Cup than what we did in the Nations League. But yeah, don't sleep on Panama in that third pot too, because they figured out a way a few different times.
I don't even know if Panama has a win in the in World Cup history. I know Canada doesn't.
Yeah.
So the CONCACAF,
And they might surprise some folks too. Canada
CONCACAF
might surprise some folks.
CONCACAF has not done totally well in World Cups, at least that I've watched. Costa Rica back in 2014, I'll give you that.
There you go.
But outside of that, Canada got obliterated in the last one. I think they lost a game like 5-0. I think they scored one goal. Mexico always loses in the round of 16 because of that curse. And the U.S. has not made it past the round of 16 since 2002. So yeah.
Mexico's top players aren't going over to Europe, so
yeah, we should have been born in Europe, so we'd actually have a fighting chance to win the World Cup.
So what else we got to talk about this morning?
Let's get into a couple, because if I did that. That would take too long to get to question day, obviously, with the time. So I'll get to a couple of questions. Let's see, from our latest videos.
Are we frozen again, dude?
No, we are not.
Well, Nate is.
Oh, Nate's frozen. No, he's back now. We never went yellow in that part.
Okay.
So,
it's just weird.
this one is coming from yesterday, a video I talked about. Have expectations changed at all for USA fans based on the recent windows? J Taco 75 says semifinals seems out of the reach. Winning 3 knockout games would be amazing though, but I don't think we get there. Is what J Taco said. 75.
75 what?
That's his name.
J Taco 75. And what was his comment again? I'm sorry, I was looking at a.
He said semifinals seem out of reach, because I think I mentioned of if this team could get to a semifinal possibly. He says that seems out of reach, but definitely would. He doesn't think that would happen, is what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that fair. I mean, I think that's a. I know I've been using the word bold a lot, but I do think it is bold to think we would reach a semifinal. But obviously, with the expanded format, like, you just have a longer road to get there. And I think with that makes it infinitely harder for the U.S. men's national team to think about getting to the end of the line. But I think with where we are in terms of being in that pot 1, I think that changes that conversation. Because I remember you saying that before we figured out what the pots looked like. And so now that we get a look at the fact that we're in pot 1 and we're going to potentially avoid a lot of those teams, well, we will, because we're in that pot because we're hosting. That, to me, speaks to an opportunity, not just to get out of the group, but if you get out of the group, I mean, anything can really happen. When you get into single elimination, like I know that obviously soccer is far different than a sport like basketball and March Madness and all that. And obviously you're dealing with guys that aren't playing at the NBA or the highest level. This isn't international ball. This is college ball. But I think once you get into knockout stages, really, I mean, anything can happen. I think it's a toss-up. I think this team is becoming more of a mystery with every passing game. Like we're so hurt and damaged as American soccer fans that we can't allow ourselves to picture the U.S. actually going that far. But with them doing what they've done specifically over the course of the last 5 games and the way that they've handled World Cup teams, now, again, there is some context in there that we need to pay attention to. I think it's kind of murking the waters a little bit. Like we think we know what to expect from this American team, but at the same time, is there a chance that maybe they could exceed expectations? They certainly did on Tuesday. Now, I know what we talked about, everything around that game, but I think with them having more success, the mystery only continues to grow around, are we actually, like, have we arrived? Like, I don't know. Are we here? Are we actually in the mix of one of the best top 15, top 10 teams in the world? Or are we still the same old U.S. men's national team? Because we saw the hype with the U17s, bounced by Morocco. We saw the hype with the U20s, bounced by Morocco. You know, now the hype is starting to build around the national team, probably bounced by Morocco. No, I'm kidding. But we'll see, man. But I think the mystery continues to grow with how well they're doing. But it's fun. I think it makes more opportunity for us to talk about it.
Yeah, I a couple of things. The World Cup, the world rankings are for a long time have been very questionable. Do we really think that the U.S. is ranked 14th? And we'd have to dive into that again. The question marks about this team aren't about its depth anymore. It's about what its stars can do. They haven't done anything. We talk about signature wins, and I don't know if you can call what happened on Tuesday a signature win. I know we've talked about signature wins, but
no,
we can't even use that in this context because, again, the main core players weren't on the field to be a part of this. And so, you know, that's the question mark. I don't know if this team is a mystery because the team that we're seeing on the field is not the team that we're going to see in June. And that in itself. Now, if we can do what we're doing on the field like we did on Tuesday with our regular players, no pun intended.
Hopefully, Pochettino's not watching.
If we do that same style, then we'll be more than capable of getting ourselves to where we want to go. But then again, I don't know if we can even do that. So
real quick about the rankings before we get to the question of the day, we talked about it being a little bit questionable. These are the teams that are below. Are we better than Mexico? Real quick, just yes or no's.
Yes.
Right now,
yes or no?
It's tough, man.
Uruguay.
I'd say no.
Uruguay. They're 16th.
Are we better than them?
Yeah, are we better than Uruguay? No.
I don't know, man.
Switzerland.
That's a toss-up to me.
Switzerland.
No.
From what we saw last time out, no.
Japan.
I don't know.
No.
Soccer Network. Use promo off of your order. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But question of the day: what was Poch thinking here? Like, what are we doing with the hoodie wrapped around your neck like that?
Ugh.
Like,
just give him a tennis racket.
Yes, like we're here to play. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is happening? And then you see Bielsa on the cooler over there. Like, what are these? What happened to real managers in suits and just managing the touchline? Like, what are we doing here with the outfit choice, Poch? Like,
I want to say that cameraman's calves are really strong.
Oh my God, you're right. Look at those calves. I didn't even think of that.
Built,
These are
man.
massive.
Holy hell.
There's a lot going on in this photo.
Big
Oh,
old
I didn't even
camera.
realize that. But like, what are we doing here?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I mean, I understand the scarf look, but like if you're gonna wear like a scarf, like at least have like something long underneath it. I've never seen a T-shirt with something wrapped around. That is a sweatshirt, isn't it?
It is
That's
definitely
wrapped
a
around
sweatshirt,
his
It's
neck
not a
there?
scarf.
All right.
Probably
Well, I
quarter
mean,
zip.
that's I don't know. Is it?
Not a
Maybe
hoodie,
that's
look
the
like quarter zip.
Argentinian style, man. I have no idea, but
Man.
that's a bold choice.
By the way, throughout the show, Mac Jack and I have been talking like hockey and stuff, so it's been pretty cool. But he also I mentioned about Bielsa in the cooler. He goes, "I feel for him. He has bad knees, and I'm one with bad knees as well." So I guess the bad knees crowd would like Bielsa in the cooler as well. They have no issue with it. But no,
support it.
again, Poch, come on, man. If we're gonna have you on the world stage, we can't be doing this, man. Like wear a normal outfit here. Maybe go back to the suit the way you were back in the Tottenham days, but
there
don't
you
do
go.
that. Just don't.
He's trying to get. That's the American way, though. You know, we've really dove head deep into fashion now. You see athletes; they're wearing all their own, special custom outfits, and coaches are doing that too. You realize how coaches all wear like sneakers with their suits now? Like they wear like Jordan
that's fine.
with their suits.
That's fine.
I think it's stupid sometimes. I think
How?
it doesn't fit. But anyways, just some of them, it just doesn't look good. Like the older coaches.
On some of them,
Like,
or just
I'm
generally?
sorry. If you've been coaching for 25 years and you got gray hair, don't wear Jordans. Get
I
the
think
hell
those are
out of here.
sweet,
Put some
actually.
dress shoes on.
Those are sweet. I like the
I think it's
Jordans.
corny.
Yeah,
I think it's corny.
As someone
for
who's
some
40,
coaches.
going to be 44 here in less than a month, I wear Jordans with my Blazers and Holy jeans. So I mean,
Boo.
I think the Jordans are a sweet look, actually.
yeah,
So
That's fair. All
but,
right.
you know,
okay,
to each their
all
own.
right. You know.
That'll wrap up today's episode of Inside the Game number 194. Mekchek, by the way, says that was fashionable, by the way. So I think that's, you know,
Oh,
it was a
all right.
one's
fashionable look.
fashionable and the other
So you
is
get the-
baddies. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yes
I,
to the dress.
And then the dude
All right.
works out his cast a lot. So
yeah, the camera operator clearly works out his calves. But either
with the
way,
camera.
we appreciate you stopping on by here. Don't forget to subscribe, like us, and share this with your friends and family. And make sure you come back here and watch each and every morning, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.